last couple months on Giveth with a couple other people here, mostly with Griff. And he said, yeah, like check out this other stuff. And he started feeding me articles to read up on. And then it just kind of opened my mind. And I was really, really curious to know more and actively help out with the project. So, I'm here. I'm learning lots every day. I spend a couple hours just reading all these amazing articles on here. And I'm like, hey, like, where do I start? Pretty much. So, that's it. I'm just like actively showing up to meetings and seeing if there's somewhere that I can squeeze in and help out.
Nice. Is there something that caught more your attention or that you got more interested about?
Well, it started with the token bonded curves and then seeing the simulations and seeing how we can incentivize people to do public good.
Yeah, so we've been understanding these narratives of like the public goods and enhancing public goods is a big dream from the common stack. And we understood how this narrative came in strong with the TEC. So we've been really trying to separate that by I'm positive that most of the token engineering community also loves public goods, but it's also the focus of public goods for the token engineers, for the token engineering community. So we're talking about open source and education and building like very robust infrastructures for these economies that are arising, right? Yesterday we had a call with Marcus. He's a token engineer, and he said something so brilliant that was how the crypto environment is so forgiving of mistakes, of like coding mistakes. And then we were reflecting after, thinking that it's probably so forgiving because it's so privileged right now, right? We can afford making those mistakes, but what when we're building like real power grids, or like when people are using this to build roads and health systems for themselves, and really using these economies to own their to own the value they produce.
There's much less room for error.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where this community and the token engineering field comes in strong, right? Like, what are all of these models? What are all of this infrastructure that needs to exist for projects to be more responsible, for token engineers to even have more of a breath, because we are leaving out of the speculation market right now. So it's everything in an insane speed, and it's hard to work with a lot of care if you're doing everything in an insane speed, because you need the speculative variable of the market now to succeed. So when things have more space, when models exist, when templates exist, when more people are educated about this, then you don't need to be in the speculation anymore, because the value is like really being created and people are using it.
Can I jump in here, Livia?
Yeah.
And also something too to think about, Mitch, is that the bridges on Ethereum are going to take hold. People, I mean, we're big on XDAI, but I mean there are others, of course. But it will. I know. I mean, I can't tell you for sure, obviously, but I am very confident that it will take hold. More people are going to jump over. We're gonna. I mean, I know scaling will happen. I know Layer 2 will solve a lot of things, but in the meantime, people will look for other opportunities. And fees right now, for instance, are huge catalysts just to try and do anything. And when we take those away and we allow people to just make something again, you don't even have to worry about how much damn money you got to have just to start your thing. You know what I mean? That like the network the network is forgiving. And then we want to make sure we have a cornerstone in that space that we're already ready to go and help create and further token engineering.
Yeah, exactly. Having those
Yeah,
side
make
chains
it
when you can actually make stuff and not cost you $10 a transaction.
exactly, dude. And especially if you are building something that could distribute, and regenerate. So you don't. I mean, it would be horrible for you to $10 a transaction, and then you got to distribute how many tokens or whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
You know what I
forget it.
mean? Forget it. It's over. It's over. So, and I know that people are already shifting and things are already happening, and we just want to make sure we are in a place that can really be attractive to token engineers to be like, hey, come to XDAI, come build with us. Let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been researching a lot on the side chains, and to me, XDAI seems like the free and fair, what Ethereum 2.0 should have been if they were faster.
Well, and I could definitely. Oh, sorry, Livia. Go ahead.
Sorry, before we go on that tangent, I just want to welcome Elias. Is that how I pronounce your name?
Are you there, dude?
Elias?
It's okay. Welcome to TEC.
We're
So
here.
this is an AMA call, a welcoming call into the TC. You can interrupt us anytime to ask any questions. And if you feel comfortable to introduce yourself, we would love to hear from you. Otherwise, I would love to help you, Mitch, to find what is the best place that you would like to jump in. Or
Well, I was actually going to try and recruit him right now, because you were at the Sunday hack session, and you were already looking for other things to get involved in. I'm sure Griff was like, "Hey, come check this out." Tech params is really fun, but something I need help with right away. If you are interested in tokenized bonding curves, we need to actually start writing forum posts again in a very objective manner on what we're doing with our bonding curve for the upgrade of the commons. So it's just that's a really fancy way of saying we're about to open up our hatch to a bonding curve. We're going to initiate this process, and we need the community to understand, one, what bonding curves are and how we are going to use them.
Right. Yeah. So I did quite a bit of reading on the stuff that Jeff wrote and some others. And I have been sitting in and looking at the parameters and getting my head around it, So I think that would be something I could do, is like just take it all and put it in layman's terms.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And we can, and it's not like you got to go out on your own. We can have, today I have a call later for tech params where we're going to go over more of what we were doing on Sunday with Vitor and the boys. And actually, it's just continuous progress. And it's a working call. But during, I'd really like to also potentially on Friday, because we always have our Sunday sessions, but Friday get a few people together. Hopefully you're one of them. I got another person I got to reach out to, and then we just get together and actually pick specific topics of the ABC, and then you just sit down and it's a work session, and we write out what we want, and then we just go over them together, and then we submit it.
And you're following all this up on Discourse?
Well, this would, we can meet in Discourse right here, or
I mean, where is it getting posted? That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, the forum. Yes, Discourse. Yeah,
okay.
it will end up on the forum. Yeah, and then you'd be the author of it and all of that.
Okay, good. Yeah, that sounds like something I could definitely handle.
And we're really, I'm keen on bringing in new people to do these things, because it's the best way to get the community involved. because we're big
Mhm.
on not promoting technocracy. And generally speaking, just like you've learned with like picking hatch parameters, it's always the devs. And if people had to write these things about ABCs, it would only be devs and it would only be for devs. And nobody would understand anything they were writing unless you were the dev itself. So
Mhm.
all the big point about this isn't just getting you involved, but it's helping the overall entire community to understand these technical aspects in a way that's communicatable for everyone. And it's fun.
Yeah.
We have fun doing it.
Hello. I heard a big crash there. Hope everyone's okay.
Hey, Elias, are you okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, okay, like this, yeah, I came to this to recruit people. I will DM you. What's best? Is Discord or Telegram better for you?
I mean, we're already on Discord. I check them both regularly, so
Okay, well then I'll get a
just get
few
me
other
on
things
Discord.
together, and I'll DM you on some other information about the specific post, and then you can actually get more of a better idea on what you may want to target, and then I'll try and set something up for Friday, and hopefully I can get Matt as well to jump in.
Cool. Yeah.
And you could start participating in tech params because I definitely need help right now.
Cool. Yeah. When you message me, just give me anything that I should read beforehand to get up to speed.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Well, this is very productive for me.
Yeah, dude. Then if and then I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do in the TEC. So I mean, you don't ever have to feel like you can't get involved in something. There's something everywhere. And in fact, I think just today we maybe even created a new working group for our source cred thing. But that's here nor now.
I think I remember sitting in that call yesterday. I think you guys were talking about SoftGov.
Yeah, so yesterday was the SoftGov call, and one of the paths of SoftGov is figured out how the reward system is going to happen post hatch, because now
Mhm.
we've been only using praise. So we've been trying to implement source cred since November. It's quite complicated, and now we're in this phase of tweaking all the parameters and seeing what best reflects the contributions we've been having, but that's probably going to be wrong. And it's just like a test phase that will gather the data, analyze the data, see what needs to be changed, and continue to go on that path. But then today we were talking about how like some of the things that are easily gamified in a quantitative system could be better solved by culture rather than by changing those parameters. So I think
Whichever
we're
is easier
gonna,
to change.
yeah, I mean, they get in a subjective sense, right? When people are
Right.
gamifying something, they have subjective intentions rather
Mhm.
than, um, yeah, objectively playing with the system. So understanding the
Mhm.
reasons and how to incorporate, like how to hug the trolls
Yeah.
and have
Onboard the trolls.
yeah, onboard the trolls. So
Yeah, it seemed kind of complicated because source cred was made for, developers working on GitHub, and then I was seeing Tamara was bringing up that it's like, well, that's not necessarily how we always use it.
yeah, we've been using GitHub and ZenHub for project management, and it's been working really well. And I think it's a functionality of GitHub that maybe not many people use, and it's mostly focused on dev work, like you said.
Hmm.
But how to also like bring this to the attention of the source cred crew, because this is a way that like we're managing 10 working groups simultaneously with GitHub, and it's working well. So we should be able to measure that as well.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot with the Zen Hub extension, and it's kind of funny how project management in general is just migrated onto this developer hub.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when the things we're working with now.
Yeah.
Uh, hey, Elias. I want to give you one more chance to maybe you figure it out, your sound. No?
Hello?
Yes.
Does it work now? Wow. It was.
He's alive.
I just turned in again when you said, "Hey, Elias, I give you one more chance." It's funny. Yeah, I had problems to get on this device. I never used Discord before, so I had no permission for audio stuff. Now you hear me, right?
Yes. Oh, wow. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed everything now.
No, no problem. We're just having a chat, and this call is like an AMA. Just if you have any questions on the top of your mind about what is the TEC, what has been happening here, how can you get involved? So, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of how you got here, we can probably help you better.
Yeah, so my name is Elias. I'm from Austria, and yeah, I following like this community since a few weeks, and try to understand like what is the consensus of the community. So I'm just curious about the perspectives that TEC has to offer, and maybe how it would look like after final launch. So
Yeah. So we are in this pre-launch phase that we've been calling the cultural build. So for the last 6 months, more or less, we've been working on the cultural, also the technical, but mostly the cultural foundation of how to build the commons. How can we self-organize? How can we self-manage and still be a successful and coherent crowd towards advancing token engineering? So when the commons is launched, we have this whole structure that it's mostly ready now to welcome token engineering projects and also the token engineering community. So it's not only a place for projects to reach out for grants, but also for token engineers to communicate with each other and for education to be shared and best practices to be shared. So we have 10 different working groups now that are working towards this very sturdy foundation for this economy to be launched. And the launch is going to happen somewhere in April, end of March or April, so pretty soon. We are welcoming hatchers now that are the people that will start this economy, and also contributors to any of the working groups that we have going and to all of the initiatives around. So I don't know if you heard of anything in specific that you would like to contribute, or if you have a background, like what are you interested in?
I mean, yeah, so I didn't get very into all the channels you're using. So I think it takes a long time at the moment to really get a deep understanding of what is the focus. So I'm sure this will improve like after lunch, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of figure out what will be like the final output. I mean, at the moment, I saw you focus a lot about like the culture build and all these practices which are relevant for collaboration in the community. And I mean, what will be like the final output of the TEC after the hatch?
That's actually a great question, and there's not a real. The shortest answer is we are advancing token engineering. What does that mean? We are creating multiple products to advance token engineering. And it isn't just specifically like my working group and dealing with the technical side on how to more proactively, efficiently run a DAO, or tools that can be used to run a DAO. As far as like, what devs might actually do. For instance, we have a product that is Gravity that is using a new way of communication, nonviolent communication, to properly, honestly, engage its community better in a more adult, proactive manner. If you're familiar with other DAOs from the past or various even now, it can just be childish and just there is no communication. People just end up spitting hate at each other, and it's just a mess. And the project really is what it does nothing. The devs just do what they want, and the community is either just buying or selling, and there's nothing really there. Gravity really alleviates those kinds of early problems. And it's a very unique, abstract concept to apply to a DAO. But in more honesty, it's far more modern in a sense of like a corporate level, that you might actually have this entire separate group that help manages. I don't like to say company because we're decentralized, but I'm just trying to help relay this idea better. To help manage in a more healthy, proactive manner. We have transparency, which is another separate working group in itself, to actually help hold us accountable, us individual working groups and the people involved. So the community, again, can really actually see what we are doing and why we are doing it. And again, with Gravity too, everything can be, communicated in a healthy manner. So instead of just yelling at somebody or pointing fingers, we can keep track on everybody with transparency, and then we can relay in a healthy manner what we think should be or shouldn't be. We're creating different tool sets to then decide how we would vote maybe with the DAO in a different way, in a different direction, and making sure that people can see how these things work. Those are just 3 specific products that we have that we can help other DAOs with. So in the end, advancing token engineering isn't just creating new tools for token engineers, of the future, or just more deep dive digital, devs, but that we're creating new tools for this brand new field on how DAOs should really think about operating in a far more sustainable, holistic manner.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's a good summary, and it kind of describes what is now visible on the cultural building work like you are doing now. And I guess so my assumption is that this is the kind of knowledge also you want to make accessible for other communities. That this cultural build, what you're now doing for yourself, is maybe then the base for different DAOs, right?
Yeah, I think like an economy is a social science, and I think the social side, the people side gets very easily neglected in many of our interactions with economies. And so yeah, we've been building this relational fabric to help communication, to help information to be spread, to help collaboration. That is the real base layer of a very healthy economy, that it's owned by the people. So I think also, to answer your question of how is it going to look post-hatch, we have here, if you can see my screen, a few of the proposals that are already submitted, because they will still go to the DAO once it's launched. But then here you can see what is that we're looking at now, what projects are applying to receive funding, what types of proposals the DAO are willing to fund. And then also in this session, you can see there is a post of what kinds of projects should apply. So here you can see what is like token engineering about, what does the Token Engineering Commons wants to fund. So it's mostly open source tools and research, education, and token engineering narratives and outreach. And then there's examples and explanations of this in this post. You've been feeling a bit overwhelmed with information, and I understand. It's a really
I already read through these proposals and the direction but it's not that clear which shape it will take, like after this project is really alive. So I mean, it's kind of visible what is the purpose and what is the direction you're going, but how it really look like at the end is not so easy to understand for if you just look at it and read through. That's what I wanted to get the feeling for it now. So.
And it is very difficult
Mm.
because we're still in that early stage ourselves about creating this thing. The core of us know, and it's a little bit harder right now. Did he leave?
I'm still there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. The core knows where we're going, so that's important. But we're really trying to create a space for devs and people in general that want to make something worthwhile again and support token engineering without all of the former bullshit that has really polluted the space. I don't want to get too big a picture thing, because right now it's important just to concentrate on what we are doing. We are encouraging proposals that want to basically promote token engineering, or in their own way promote token engineering, and keep it at that. Right? We're not trying to save the world. We're advancing token engineering. Okay. So whether you have a great proposal on a new way to make, for NFTs, and say you want to make an NFT new database that supports audio, which is kind of is just now popping up. That's something that's really cool. You know what I mean? And instead of trying to raise a bunch of your own funds, maybe we can help you do that in a regenerative manner. And then it can be open source, and you can help make these new audio NFTs, and everybody wins, right? That's something that's advancing token engineering. We're creating, or you're getting involved in this new space, this new technology, and we can help you do that. Does that make sense?
So, so you are mainly looking for accumulating like a lot of tools which enable like knowledge creation and knowledge transfer frameworks.
Yes.
And
Yes. And it's not, and I said NFTs, but that's just an example. The real hope, dude, is that if you really get into it, that you can let your imagination run wild again. And you can think of, what can you tokenize? What can you tokenize? What can you do? And yeah, go ahead.
I mean, because you are so much focused on like common goods building. So I always wonder, like, what are the main fields where common goods really make sense? So I mean, now it's quite focused on like open source software building and stuff. But so is there a focus on which common goods or
Yeah.
which common tools should arise out of this platform?
Yeah, this is a common, an easy thing to confuse, that it's common goods for the token engineering field. So it's not necessarily common goods for the planet, that it could eventually be, and it probably will, because having all of these economies being made in an ethical way, it is eventually going to be good for the planet and for the people. But the TEC wants to advance token engineering as a discipline. So it's public goods for this community. And that means like open source models, education, templates, graphics, simulation tools, this everything that feeds token engineers in their environment.
So there's also like a scientific approach mainly. It's not about open source software mainly to just develop tools. It's also about the research about
Well,
common
yeah,
goods, right?
very
Yeah.
soon there'll be a proposal for token engineering education, or there's going to be like a school, and people that are specialists in the field will be a part of this, and you can just we'll promote and support a school basically in token engineering, and then you can learn about token engineering in detail.
And I mean, you have a lot of partnerships. Like you arise from the Common Stack, and you're partner with Block Science, and you're using different communities already. And is this where your focus is, or do you plan to do you have a different vision?
Yeah, the token engineering field is something very expanded. It's a multidisciplinary field. So there's even a flower of all of the disciplines that cross that exist all together to form token engineering, because there is this complexity of being an economy, of having all the technological tools, all the anthropological tools, the social tools, so there, but the research, the academic part of it. So it is important that multiple fronts come together to make this happen. So this was a partnership from the Common Stack and the token engineering community to launch this commons using the components of Common Stack. So this is the first commons being launched in this type of way, using the cultural build and using all of the tools for the first time. The conviction voting, the bonding curve, and also One Hive came in together because they created their DAO using some of these tools from the Common Stack library. So they already developed so much of it, and we got in a partnership with them to continue to develop the tools for the TEC. So all of the tech is being built by One Hive and what we call the Common Swarm. So that's all gonna be launched. I mean, the whole like look of where do you play the Commons itself. That's what's gonna be launched in a month or so.
So you're planning to develop like frameworks which work for all these communities, like for One Hive, which is useful for all different. I don't know how to explain that. It's quite hard to separate like the different visions of these projects, kind of. So and that's what I try to figure out. So what's really the main different vision between, like, for example, the Common Stack and TEC and One Hive? So they all have a focus, right? But it's quite hard to find the real difference between them.
Yeah, I feel you. That has been a challenge for us in the internal communications, in the communications of Common Stack and what all of the One Hive crew were working on also. So yeah, that's a good question. So the main purpose of the TEC is advancing token engineering, and that's it. That's the purpose of the token engineering commons. But Common Stack has a different purpose, that is to improve the tooling, including the deployment, the development of a commons, that is the conviction voting, the bonding curve, the cultural build, having all of this tested, deployed, functioning, and how to create these templates so other communities can also deploy their commons. So in the end of this process, we're also gonna make a handbook, a cultural handbook for building this community. So also people will be able to see from our best practices, because we're also doing a research, a TEC case study based on everything that's happening on this process to launch this commons. So other people will be able to learn from the steps that we took and use what serves and what not. And also the technical components will be there, open source, available. So yeah, so others can build on them as well.
So you will publish this at the when you start the launch, or where do you accumulate all this knowledge?
Yeah, so right now all this knowledge is in our platforms. In the One Hive community, there's a lot of information of how they've been using these components. In the TEC side, we have the forum. Mostly we have the forum, the Medium publications, and the Discord. So that's the three places that you're going to find most of the information. And then on the Common Stack side, we are working on this documentation of the TEC case study and the handbook that it's going to come a little bit post hatch, because we also have to understand to test our assumptions to see if they actually worked when we launch.
What form will this handbook take? Like, will it be like a PDF or a wiki, or?
Yeah, it will probably something like a wiki.
And you will integrate it in like a website of TEC and expand it over time in this way to accumulate the newest knowledge.
Yeah, so this is a deliverable from the Common Stack, but it will be available for anyone, including the TEC community, for sure.
I saw this ends in 4 minutes. I had some other questions because, like Elias, I'm getting really mixed up between Common Stack and TEC and One Hive. Yeah, so you guys are collecting impact hours. Is that true?
Yeah,
Or is
so we
that
have
Common Stack?
no, that's the TEC. So we have a praise system that multiple people have the praise powers. So we can dish people praise, and all the praise that you receive, that is for your contributions. So anything you do, like for example, I will dish you praise to you for coming to this call. All of this praise goes to a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet goes through a quantification process every 2 weeks. So 2 people from the community, usually the people that have high impact hour scores, they are invited to quantify the praise. So we go.
And it can change.
Sorry?
the people who are quantifying the stuff can change.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
changes.
always the same. Okay.
No, yeah. So the praise quantification is this qualitative process, is like putting a number to a qualitative contribution.
Right.
So we do that in form of impact hours, because it's not necessarily the time you spent there, but the impact that your contribution had. So the impact hours, and why impact hours? Because it's an easier measure of how to turn this into tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So the impact hours are, how do you say? Like when you have multiple contributions, you make a sum and divide them, and then you have the
Average.
the average. Yeah, thank you. So the impact hours is the average contributions that everyone had from all of this time they've been contributing, and they will turn into TEC tokens post-hatch. And that is one of the parameters, that is the cultural build tribute. So when the hatch happens and we have the funds available, part of this funds will go to pay this debt that is the cultural build tribute.
And will you continue like using like this source credit mechanism after the hatch?
Yeah, so now we don't have the source credit implemented yet. We're in this process.
Okay.
But that's the idea, to use it post-hatch.
And now, how is it exactly working with how you deal with the how you plan to deal with the source credit data? Is it will you transfer it automatically to praise, or why is the idea?
Yeah, we've been tweaking the parameters around to have the best reflection of the contributions that happen in the community. And then SourceCred has a distribution engine, so it can distribute automatically depending on the parameters that we decide that are being worked on now. We've been working on that in the SoftGov calls that are every Tuesday at 8 p.m. CET. And also we had a work session today. And if you're interested, we can invite you to the next ones as well.
Maybe I look on them.
If I may say something briefly, what Livy also is mentioning, it's I think, sorry to be late in this call. My name is Eduardo, and I'm community steward for the onboarding working group. And basically, what also she mentioned, it's very relevant because it's part of the cultural build. And basically, this impact hour, and this can Livy or Jay can correct me if I'm wrong, but this impact hours is what will give you eventually the access to choose parameters. And so we basically are giving a horizontal approach to every person who is part of the community, and the capacity for everyone to decide on how this project goes on as a community. So this is really relevant. That's why the impact hours process and the pay system work like that, because it's a very interesting way to articulate something that usually, at least I have never seen before. And I think it's pretty useful because you acknowledge people, but you not only acknowledge them, but you're also giving a token to that acknowledgement. So, yeah.
And after the hatch, you will continue using this subjective mechanism of like of this praise giving, or you want to transfer it mainly to automatic source credit data?
Yeah, we want to continue using praise. I think it's very important to have a subjective measure because it's way less gameable, and we've been building this gratitude gratitude culture that it's really important, is like a very big part of our culture. And this ties with other cultural processes as well, like transparency, like accountability. Sorry?
The gravity group too.
Yeah, also with conflict management and keeping the harmony in the community. So it's really important the role praise plays now.
And does it work well in this context at the moment? For is everyone happy about the praise he receives?
Yeah, I think it's been working very well. We haven't had any complaints, and they're all transparent. And every 2 weeks, we have a blog post that shares all of the praise that, I mean, the latest Impact Hour chart everyone has.
And you said there's always a few persons distributing them, right? So and they collecting all the contributions kind of and try to distribute them in a fair way.
Yeah, and well, Zep's here too, because him and I have both taken part times. It is, and we've done very well, and as it's gone on, we've developed our own process for how we quantify the praise, and it has collectively been interesting to see that humanly we have actually been very objective and consistent. But regardless, there are still it still becomes difficult given the fact that every time we do it, we have that much more praise to distribute. So with the implementation of SourceCred, this really will be a very interesting aspect of the TEC moving forward. But go ahead.
Just because it's very hard if the community grows, it's quite hard to scale, right? The praise in the way you distribute it now.
It is, because we manually have to go through every one, and we sit down and we do it, and it's gone well, and we're actually, some of us are actually getting pretty decent at getting through it, but yeah, as we grow and we're actually live and we're going, we will depend heavily on SourceCred, because it just won't really be possible for us to do it in a more proficient manner.
Eventually, you could always break it down into like sociocratic circles and distribute it upwards.
We'll have to do something to that to be able to adapt with the growth.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to dip out here. I've got another call I have to get ready for. Jake, I guess just hit me up with a message there, and I can jump in and
yeah,
start
absolutely,
helping you guys.
Mitch. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and thanks, Libby, for facilitating. And Zept, I'll catch you later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you, man.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Bye, Mitch. Thank you.
Bye.
I think we can close the session that is 40 minutes long, but I'm happy to take any other questions. Elias, if you write to us, and you're also welcome to any of our calls. There is a very complete token engineering calendar that you can see all the events, and there are so many. Every day there is something going on. So you're super welcome to join. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, I will try to come more often. So once I have a kind of a overview of what's going on, then I can focus on the things which seem interesting to me, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
Jake.
thanks a lot.